Welcome to High Infidelity, the best cheating videos on YouTube. If you enjoy this content, remember to subscribe and turn on notifications. Now let's get into the video.
My story. So I decided to write my tale to offer you a ray of hope and to show you that everything works out in the end. My ex-wife is 50 years old and I am 55. We've been married for 23 years and together for 25. So, a little background. I am a country lad from Alberta, Canada, born and reared on my parents' dairy farm. I relocated to Ontario to get a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering. After graduation, I returned to Alberta and began working in the oil sector, mostly in the automation of large oil processing facilities and oil and gas drilling. I made a lot of money and purchased a home in the city. My ex-wife was introduced to me by a colleague. She is an accountant who works in the financial department of a large retail firm. We hit it off right away and began dating. We lived together for 2 years before marrying. During our stay in Alberta, we had 2 sons who were 19 months apart. Around the 5th year of our marriage, she received a promotion that required her to relocate to the corporate headquarters in Ontario. As a result, I resigned from my work and we relocated to Ontario. I rented and retained my home, and then purchased a new one with my ex-wife. I found a new job in manufacturing facility automation. She swiftly progressed through the ranks of the firm for which she works, and she is now a high-level manager. We both earn very good money and live a very affluent lifestyle, with frequent family trips, new automobiles on a regular basis, and a home loan that was paid off quickly, so we are practically debt-free. We had a highly social life there, and we knew a lot of people from our university days and her upbringing. Everything went wrong in 2016, when I was laid off from my work, was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and returned home early one day after doing some errands to discover that my wife was having an affair with my closest friend college roommate. I managed to catch them in the act. He was a buddy of ours, tall and attractive. Divorced for infidelity, you know the sort. She pleaded and uttered the typical things that everyone says. That she loves me, that it was a mistake, that we can work through it, that our marriage is the most important thing to her, and so on. I didn't want to reconcile because I couldn't see myself as a jail guard following her around and hunting for ghosts in my relationship. I know what I'm worth, so I booted her out of the home and filed for divorce. I called the kids who were at university at the time and informed them what their mother had done, which caused a lot of pressure in their relationship, which she thought was needless and petty on my side. I phoned my so-called pals to inform them what had transpired, and most of them were unaware. One even told me that this affair had been going on for 3 years. I was clueless, maybe because I was naive and absolutely trusted my then-wife. After learning this, I avoided any touch with my ex, instead channeling all communications via my lawyer. I removed them all from my life and never talked to them again. During that period, I became sad, had anger difficulties, did not sleep, and did not eat. It was the most agonizing ache I'd ever experienced in my life. That is something I never want to go through again. I still have nightmares about it now and again. I recognized one day that I couldn't keep feeling sorry for myself and began searching for ways to keep my thoughts busy. Started running and exercising, took up cooking as a passion and began learning to play the guitar. Anything to block my mind from recalling everything that had happened to me. Playing guitar was one of the things that helped me a lot, but it is difficult to perfect, requires a lot of practice, and took up a lot of time throughout the day that I would otherwise spend wallowing. Jan Arden's The Sound of was one of the first songs I learnt. It's a song about healing, and I wholeheartedly suggest it. Another thing that helped was getting a puppy dog, preferably a Rottweiler, the breed we used to have on the farm. Because my ex despises animals, we did not have one. Taking care of the puppy also enabled me to get things off my mind, and having it rely on me gave me a motivation to continue. We sold the home and shared the equity, as well as the money in the savings account during the divorce. RSPs, retirement savings plans, did not need to be split since we both had the same amount saved, and following the divorce, I returned to Alberta because I had a home here and established my consultancy company, which is doing extremely well, especially in this recession. I sold my home and purchased one in Canmore at the foot of the Rockies with a backyard in the woods. I'm not very good at social media, and I've never been interested in it. I don't even have a Facebook page, so not following my ex-wife was simple, and I didn't want to know what she was up to. In 2018, I returned to Ontario for my son's graduation and ran across my ex. She asked if we could have a cup of coffee and catch up while I was there. I just assured her that I would be in better company in hell, and then went on to ignore her for the duration of the ceremony. My 2 sons relocated to Alberta and now reside 40 minutes away from me. This had to come as a surprise to my ex, since Ontario is 4 hours away by air and 36 hours away by automobile, making it impossible for her to come and see the kids. Not everything is as wonderful as it sounds. I haven't been able to re-enter a relationship. I have trust difficulties and concluded that it would be unfair to my partner if I continued to date. I am alone, yet I am not lonely. Even though I don't have somebody to share my life with, I am quite content with it. My heart goes out to all of you in this sub and what you're going through, but I can assure you that it gets better, and even if you wind up alone like me, it's much better than staying with the cheater and the ghost of their infidelity. Story 2. Never understand how my ex-GF can treat cheating as a normal thing. So my D-Day was around 7 months ago. I, male 35, met my ex-GF, female 27, in 2014, and we married in 2015. In late 2019, she abruptly canceled her Instagram account without informing me, and I only discovered out when I attempted to send a post to her and couldn't locate her account. When I challenged her, she said that she did it because she was harassed by her work buddy's friend's friend, let's call him X, who had been tagging her and attempting to hit on her. I'd known about this X for a few months, when we went to a social gathering at one of X's business events, prior to COVID. I informed X that I would be speaking to X to urge him to back off, but X stopped me, stating that it wasn't worth it and X didn't want to cause a commotion among her work pals, so I agreed to back down. Then COVID happened, and X told me in March that she'd been laid off and needed to move back to her hometown due to a lack of funds. And I couldn't help her at the time because I was in the middle of renovating my house. I paid her rent and bills when she first moved to my city and couldn't find work. X refused to move in with me since I lived in the suburbs and she had previously lived in the city center. We live 50 minutes apart. So we were separated for a few months until May, when I completed remodeling and had enough money to assist her pay her rent. I found her to be distant and frigid when we were apart. She went out a lot, despite COVID, and was up at strange hours like 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. I rejected my concerns at first because I assumed she was miserable and anxious, but these actions persisted even when she returned to our town. I was hanging around at her apartment one day while she was having a bath and her phone got flooded with conversations, so I opened her chat to check who was talking her, and I discovered a bombardment of nudes from X being sent to her, with a text reading, "I can't wait to see you tomorrow." My body became numb, and my thoughts blanked out. I was enraged, so I went back through her past conversations with X and discovered that they had been trading nudes since 2019. I photographed the discussions and nudity, then told her I had an emergency at work that I needed to attend to. I work in medical field, so she knows sometimes I am needed in a certain situation. I wept like a baby when I arrived home. Part of me wants to fight for her, and part of me simply wants to be wounded, really hurt. Because my prior relationship ended with me being cheated on, witnessing it again stings me in the most painful way. I opened my chats with her in the morning to see all of our previous chats. I opened our pictures together, trying to find a reason not to end this relationship, until I stumbled upon our Instagram chats. I never deleted my chats with her, and lo and behold, her IG profile picture was there, but I couldn't find or open her profile. Then it hit me. She blocked me. This lady had me barred on Instagram under the pretense of canceling her account. I created a new account to monitor her Instagram, and indeed, her account was active and not set to private. I saw all of her images, all of her parties, all of her tales, and sure, a gorgeous picture of her kissing X in the mouth shot not long ago. Something clicked in me, and I was no longer unhappy. All I felt was apathy. I took images of her on Instagram and wiped everything I had about her on my phone, laptop, and computer. I texted her and asked her to meet up, and when we met, I simply showed her the photographs I took on her phone on Instagram and told her we were done. I don't know her anymore, and I don't have anything to do with her since she departed. I disconnected from her and a place I was linked to her. I told my parents and family to disregard her phone call. Because she knows where I live and work, I couldn't ghost her, so I simply went NC and I went hard. Mutual friends were attempting to get me to forgive her, but I informed them that if they continued to contact me about her, I would block them as well, so they backed off. The reason I'm ranting here is because on Valentine's Day last year, I received a text from her. I moved from Android to Apple, and I only banned her on my old phone, not on my new phone yet, in which she, with all of her arrogance, pleaded for my assistance in paying her rent. No, I'm not sorry, and I'm not going to attempt to explain anything. I didn't bother responding and immediately blocked her again. I was just wondering how the heck I fell in love with someone who had no regret or shame after cheating on me. If you're still here, I'd want to thank you for taking the time to read my rant.